and he has some formal interview which is going on, and if it works out.
See, you are highly read professional, but I know our profession of the medical profession, doctor is real tough, time challenges, not everyone can read. The question to you is, first of all, you get random questions from patients on dietary supplements and how pushy they are, or they bend down, they're okay, fine, what doctor says I have to quit this. So first of all, let's learn what is the behavior of the patient, and then we'll get to your side of the story.
Okay, so thank you for the invitation to be here. So of course, getting into your question, of course they do. So all the time they're being bombarded, not just on social media, but newspapers, television, neighbors telling them, and whether they like it or not, all the time they're trying something else. They're moving from one thing to another. They try it for 2-3 months and then they give up and try something else. So as a doctor, coming back to, is there a role for any such nutraceuticals or call it whatever else you want, is outside the pharma drug that we prescribe formally to treat a disease? These will come more under the wellness area, as you said. Well, there's certainly a need, but as you yourself said, the problem with me, see, for me, I'm not just a doctor, but I'm also a scientist. So if you ask me in this forum, where is the evidence for something, then I have to try to find that evidence. And unfortunately, this is not an area where a lot of evidence is being generated. So I would put it very simply. If there is a deficiency in the body, we have a lot of deficiency. We have B12 deficiency, we have vitamin D deficiency, we have zinc deficiency, we have all kinds of deficiencies. So if you have a deficiency, thyroid deficiency, you have all kinds of insulin deficiency itself is one of the causes of diabetes. So if you have a deficiency in the body, replacing it is no big deal, and I don't think you can go wrong. The question comes, do you give that product to everyone? And if you do that, is there any evidence that it will A, help that person, and B, that it's safe for that person? Because if you keep overloading somebody, suppose somebody has got a marginal liver problem or a marginal kidney problem, they may not even know that, and then they take this consumer product, and then it will zinc, it will be curcumin, it will be anything, and then they take it. What guarantee do we have, even if it doesn't do any good, that it doesn't do any harm? And as a practicing doctor, as a scientist, I want to be the last one who gave the person somebody and then knocked off his kidney or something like that. So if I didn't know something about the product, I won't prescribe it. If there's a deficiency, no problem. It's an accepted thing. For example, just to give you, I don't want to name the company. There was a company which I hope one of the company representatives, they're not here, because I want to go home safe. But they put out this ad in the paper saying that 80% of Indians have multivitamin deficiency. Okay? There is no such thing called multivitamin deficiency. You can have vitamin D deficiency, you can have B12 deficiency, you can have vitamin C, you can have something. But there's no test for multivitamin deficiency. They have big ads in the papers. So they're saying every Indian should take this. I didn't oppose it because I was against the company. I was just thinking of some of my patients having borderline kidney problem or something. And all I have to do is to take this chromium and zinc and molybdenum and all kinds of unknown stuff into the body. What it will do to the body, I have no idea. So I put it out strongly on social media saying there's no such thing called multivitamin deficiency. This is a hoax. There is no such thing. Those who need it under prescription can take it. But you cannot advertise in a newspaper and say every Indian needs it. That's what they said. Every Indian has to, including me, I have to take it now because they have said it. So I put it out and I said, it got such a tremendous traction on social media that they withdrew the ad. They immediately withdrew the ad. So in such situations, I have nothing against the company, I have nothing against it, but I want my patients to be protected. I want my people to be protected. So while there is a big role for it, you have to find where to use it, how to use it, whether it's going to be beneficial, whether it will cause any harm, and whether it's worth paying the money that you're giving for that, or they can use that money for something else. So I'll stop there and then come back.
I absolutely resonate with what you said. There's lots fortunately or unfortunately, the industry has all kinds of people working. The entry barriers for making a product are pretty low, and then it is about storytelling. So when we also do nutraceuticals, finding the right dosage of the right ingredients in the right mixing and sourcing it from the right people, and then making it in a way that it is shelf stable for the next 2 years. But not many people work on it. One of the deficiencies we see in India is the regulatory systems. Currently, as Amit also pointed out, the regulatory systems in India are not very robust when it comes to this kind of industry. We operate in Southeast Asia where we see the regulators really grill us before even now. They want stability data, not just 2 years, but 4 years stability also. When they see, okay, how is your product performing 2 years after it is technically expired? And advertising is, unfortunately, it's a we call it storytelling, but then some people are in a hurry. So they just want a big bang. And this business is not about having a big bang. It has to grow organically. You need to do it slow and steady, build evidence, and take it. So I totally resonate.
Wonderful. In fact, Dr. Mohan, we started with consumers. Now, I also know that a lot of pharmaceutical companies, they reach out to you with claims or whatever claims, with a cocktail of ingredients. So they don't come with a single ingredient, they come with a cocktail and come up with a lot of stories about it. As a medical doctor, you may have 10 places to verify drugs. I don't think you have a place to verify what on earth are they talking, how do you verify it. While I have a suggestion, but then I want to understand how do you take upon, now sometimes you will prescribe, sometimes you will not prescribe, but then what is it that you expect pharmaceutical industry to actually talk to you when it comes to nutraceuticals? As you, and I like to chip in here because I live and breathe this industry. Nutraceutical industry, yes, it's not competing with drug. The place it finds is either as deferring an onset of health condition, measurable. So that means there is chemicals required. Second is adjuvants. Can it improve the quality of life? Can it potentially reduce the drug dose, but not? Okay. So coming to the pharma industry or any industry, any company which reaches out to you, makes presentations, what is it that is missing for you to really believe into that? What do you expect them to know? Because what you're going to tell is what we're going to take it to the industry for them to work and come back and talk and make better sense of it. And I'll then this question, what do you do in ASEAN countries?
So, there have been, since I do research and since ultimately they come to me and do clinical trials, so many of them engage with me before they produce the product, which I like. They come and say, what is that you need? You tell us. For example, protein. Let's take a protein supplement drink. Now, giving it to a person with diabetes, without diabetes is a big difference because you can have sugar if you don't have diabetes, but with diabetes. Now, if you take sugar out from a protein drink, it will become very unpalatable. Okay? And then how much carbs do you put in there and how is that carb released? So, even years ago, when Britannia Biscuit Company first came and said, we'll make a biscuit for you, we put down rules and conditions and they could not produce it. They said, without fat, without this, we cannot produce a biscuit. So for 20 years, we never had any diabetes biscuit at all. So we could not produce it. It will crack. The moment if you don't put in enough fat, it will all become over, So we have been involved because we have a big food and nutrition department research at our center. So we tell them, okay, we want so much of protein. We don't want a protein overload. There should be carbs. The fat should be healthy fat. So we don't want trans fat, we don't want saturated fat, we prefer monounsaturated fat. If you add in a few other things, then it will be good. So we give them a formula. Based on that, they'll make the first trial product. And then they'll come to us. Then we'll say, no, you do this. Then we do the sensory testing. Does it taste good? Then we do the clinical trials. Actually do clinical trials. We publish those clinical trials. Then they take it to the market. And they take it to the market, they cannot say it's marketed by me or approved by me. I give them a certificate for what I have done. How do I know the next batch they're producing the same thing or not? So I'll say the product they gave me, this is the results, and then good or bad, I'll give you the results. Okay. So So I give it to them. So that is how we work with the pharma industry. The same thing goes for other supplements. For example, the neuropathy. They may be amphetamine may be there, or alpha-lipoic acid may be there, or gamma-linolic acid may be there, or something else may be there, methylcobalamin may be there, something else may be there. A cocktail of those, many of which have been proven to have benefit will come. Then we'll say what is that should not be given in excess, what should be given enough of. For example, methylcobalamin is given enough, you're not going to get any improvement. Then we do the trials, and as even there, it's not easy to find improvement. If you do a nerve conduction study, before and after, you find improvement in nerve conduction. But you ask the patient, he'll say, no change. My numbness is still there. Okay. So I'll say, okay, your numbness is still there, but the nerve conduction showing is improved. That means some improvement is there, you're not able to get the improvement. So it's not easy to design clinical trials. How do you measure numbness? How do you measure numbness? Pain. How do you measure pain? We can only tell you about pain. So we'll say on a Likert scale, 1 to 10. Because 10, now is it 5 or 6 or 3 or... But you know, it's pretty accurate. When somebody tells you that from 10 it's moved to 8, it means it's not moved at all. Okay. But if the person tells me it's come to 3, there's a definite improvement. Nobody will tell you from 10 to 3, you know. So we have to improve, even for nutraceuticals, quality of life. Okay, give them a placebo on one side, give something, and then see whether actual improvement in quality of life is there. So there are studies which we can do. Some of the claims, for example, anti-cancer, you claim, you take this, how are you going to follow? Next 50 years, do you know? Everybody knows smoking produces cancer. Okay, there's been no study. There's been no study saying that you make 10,000 people smoke for next 20 years. 10,000 people not smoke for next 20 years and see how many develop cancer. It's not ethical, it cannot be done. They're all observational studies. Those who smoke got this, therefore, we don't know why without smoking lung cancer is going up now. Okay? So many things you can do in trials, many things you can't do. At least what you can do, you can do. So that way you bring the science into it. Ultimately, the person producing it, the nutraceutical person, you have to make money. You have to make your billions, you make 250 billion, it's fine. It's come in an ethical way. It has come in an ethical way and it shouldn't harm people. At the extent of, okay, incidentally a few people died doing that. That's not acceptable. To me, it's not acceptable. The wealth part is good, but it has to be done. And that is why, as you said, perhaps India can make a slide. US anything can sell. The best drugs have found it most difficult to make it through a US FDA. The worst drugs, which are Indian drug controllers have said, no, we will not bring it. They introduced it in the US, 75 people died, and then they banned the drug. We never introduced India at all. The drug controller in India said, no, this was dangerous, we are not bringing it. Okay. The US, the pressure was so much, they brought it, 75 people died. They don't say, oh, this is a deadly drug. We knew that, we never introduced it. So US is not a good example.
So actually to build on it, we think everything in the US is excellent, but there are, as Amit was saying, US, the industry started growing up in early 1990s. There was an act called Dietary Health Supplement Act, which basically opened up a Pandora's box. You can practically make anything, as long as nobody dies, it's okay. So that is where the industry, and also there's a context. Because in India, we have very good access to doctors. I'm sick, I can go to my GP next. I don't have to wait. Try doing that in US. Either it will in UK, 1 year waiting period. Only you can have access to an emergency room. So that also leads to a lot of self-medication or people looking for something to address it. So the OTC and the supplement industry also grew up there, which should not happen in our countries. Because our countries, we have relatively very good access to a general practitioner at least. And then he can guide us on what should be the next course of action better than our own decisions.
See, the thing is here, nutraceuticals are mainly their immunomodulators. They are not used for therapeutic purpose. You can never compare nutraceuticals with the pills or medications, whatever the doctors prescribe. For example, let me tell you, fenugreek seeds, if you consume properly, it will reduce the blood glucose level. There are scientific reports. It doesn't mean that doctor should not prescribe metformin or glucosamine G1 or something. Some medicines they prescribe. See, it is a phytochemical. See, for example, fenugreek has scientific reason. It has galactose, it has mannose. The galactomannan, once it forms in your gut, it forms a slimy thing, gel. It coats the microvilli, there will not be immediate absorption of the glucose inside the blood. And 4-hydroxyleucine, which is produced by fenugreek seeds, which is a phytonutrient, which is known as antioxidant, it has got antioxidant properties. It also induces the pancreas to release the insulin. Scientific basis is there, but it cannot be used for therapeutic purposes. So nutraceuticals are immunomodulators. It can prevent. Most of the nutraceuticals can prevent, but not cure. It's a long-term effect. Nutraceuticals will have a long-term effect. It will have health benefits, whereas therapeutic doctors, whatever prescribe, they are for therapeutic purposes. So this kind of differentiation we need to have when we talk about nutraceuticals.
So fenugreek, since you mentioned, National Institute of Nutrition, I think Professor Raghunathan Raghuram, I think, is the one who did a lot of work on fenugreek. So that's one good example of how actual science has been done on fenugreek. Insulin mechanism of action, it's reducing insulin resistance, reducing postprandial glucose levels. So you picked the right example, because that is one thing where a lot of research has been done. It's been done in India. And I don't mind giving fenugreek either in the food product itself, you increase your fenugreek, or if you still feel that it needs to be given, you get along with it. It cannot replace anything. Adjuvant. But that's something where at least some science has been done. Whereas many other things, chromium and things like that, which they are claiming, glucose tolerance factors, there are some mice experiments, there's not a single human experiment to do that. And people are pushing it, saying, no, you should write this, you should write that, it's good for diabetes.
I have this instead of time to mention, I certainly want you to showcase your journey with medical doctors. What brands succeeded because of the clinical study data you generated versus those companies, if not you, those companies who didn't do clinical study. What is the data that was created in the countries you operate?
So typically in this industry there are two kinds of players. One who are not in a hurry, the others who are in a hurry. So the ones who are in a hurry, they just go like this and then they just come like this. Players like us, we are more like an aeroplane, so we take our time on the runway, we slowly rise up, but we try to stay there. So for us, a product success is defined in 5 years time window. After launch and 2 years before launch. So 2 years before launch, we do a lot of work, our own teams of pharmacists, nutritionists, doctors, validations with clinicians like Dr.Mohan said. So we will do a lot of work with all the countries to understand what should be the right dose, ingredients, is there enough clinical evidence that is supposed. And then for the first 2-3 years, we actually launch our products only through doctors till they get confidence. And it also helps in storytelling, because I think at the end of the day, we are into business, so we need to make money. The question is how fast you want to make money and how sustainable it is. So if you launch your product through doctors, the doctors have a close tab on their patients, so you know the product works. You yourself are confident when you have to tell a story. And for 2-3 years when it is done, that is the time when we take it on a larger scale, because we have no history. For us, it is not about data and going and proving to the regulators. No, we should be able to give the product to our own father. So this is the compass which we use. So if you look at a 3 to 5 year horizon, I think that's the way one should look at it. Fast movers, they are everywhere across. They come, they go, they use influencers, they do everything. Like you were saying, 80%. How do you know that? Right education, you will be able to understand that unless your doctor has recommended, you don't need most of the medicines. Food is the medicine. This is the truth, but nobody sells food because broccoli doesn't have a budget. Right? If you look at the normal home cooked food which you make, it's a balanced thali. India, in every region of India is a balanced thali. It is the best food to have. The second problem today we have is a problem of abundance. We live in an era of abundance. Most of our diseases are not because of infections. The medicine evolved to treat infections. Most of our diseases is because of we eat a lot, we move a little, we sleep a little. So these are the basic things. These are not rocket science. But instead, you still need a protein supplement. If your doctor has recommended it, he would recommend a brand. He would have done his research. My suggestion to you, eat a lot of dal. That's good enough. That's good enough. You don't need proteins. Ask doctors here how many protein deficient cases they have seen, unless there was not enough food on the plate. So that's my take.
I see all protein supplements. Let me tell you this. The recent dietary guidelines may have very clearly mentioned that it is unless and until it is approved by the doctor or prescribed by the doctor, patient should not consume any protein supplements because it will have bearing kidney load, it will have and there will be the true food-based approach, what he said is correct. The balanced diet, your home meals is enough. It will give you everything. You get nutraceuticals, you get protein, carbohydrate, whatever, fat, everything you will get.
This principle called Haranachi, who means eat till 80% full. Ayurveda also says that a protein is aware of food. I mean, these are very simple principles, at least in the audience here, which have access to information, knowledge. I mean, these are very simple things to do.
Lastly, sir, for conclusion, since a lot of queries came, and as doctors do not have venue to verify, since we have 3.6 million curated data, what we realized is, as a service to the industry, we have opened up this data, and this data is, so typically if someone comes and tells, and this for the audience also, that hey, this is a product, you should take it, it's got 4 hero ingredients. Ashwagandha good for head, curcumin good for eyes, whatever it is, and so on. At least now you can go to, and it's free, we made it free. You can download Nutrify Today app and type in what is there on the label claim. It will give you the entire dynamics. It may be approved by the regulator of India, but it will tell you technically it will not work in your body. At least you have some reference point and give you all clinical data to back up whatever you're feeding into the system. So at least there's one place where you can actually go, and it's factual, it's not narrated. Whatever is available in the world, 3.6 million is a lot of data. It will tell you at least right or wrong. Even for doctors, they can now verify whatever pharma company is telling, is it right or wrong. It will tell you by my question. That's it for now. There are many signals to shut down.
You should take the advice of the medical doctor. Don't have your own treatment, don't decide on your own. Whether you are taking supplementation or whatever it is, consult a doctor, qualified doctor. He will suggest you. Because they see umpteen number of patients day in, day out. It is they who can decide your health. It is they who can advise you what kind of food, what kind of these things. You need to take supplements, you need to take. So you have to back up on medical doctors. That you have to have. You cannot have your own treatment. Protein supplementation नहीं तो ग्लूकोज बढ़ गया है, ग्लूकोन मिल गया है. अपने आप को भाई somebody says, oh, get glucose. What is it? Go to the hospital. And that is sitting here. How can you make a patient taking the medication and go? You have to consider. Here, supplementation also.